Hello and welcome to Ask Coach Adrian Live, my weekly space every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, where I get to interact with you, where I get to answer your most pressing questions when it comes to love and relationships, breakups, separations, divorces, any challenge that you are facing in your relationship. I want to thank you. I was just reflecting with my team, and over the past month, 91 individuals have shared questions about their story, about their relationship. And that means a lot to me because I know that your relationship, your marriage is what is most precious to you, is what is most dear to you. And so I don't take that lightly. And I'm grateful for your trust, for your support as well, and for your kind words, because I've received many, many, many positive testimonials, positive words in the comment sections via email. And it means a lot. And although views are down on YouTube, actually the engagement and the quality of the individuals that are following our content has skyrocketed. And it's real people who are really trying to learn to be in a healthy relationship and who are prepared to do the work. And that is absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And so it's my honor again to be live today to interact with you, to answer your questions, and to share a little bit with you about this topic of why your ex's words and their actions are not in harmony and what actually that really means for you and for your prospect of rebuilding a new and improved relationship. So, hello to AG. Hello to Martha. Thank you for your comments and for engaging with me in the chat. Wonderful to be with you guys today. So, I over the last 10 years, I have seen that many people actually get tripped up because their ex says one thing and acts in a completely different way. And it's a little bit of a mind bend, and you don't know what you're supposed to do. Your ex clearly misses you, and so you have that feeling through their words that maybe something is there, and so you reach out only to hit a wall, or they're telling you they want nothing to do with you. They're trying to put these barriers with through their words, but then through their actions, you see that it seems like they still have feelings. And so this hot and cold behavior is not only triggering, but it can really cause all sorts of um, stress, really stress and anxiety, because you don't know where you stand and you don't know what the next best action should be. And what I've seen and what I've told people is that just because there's a separation or a breakup going on doesn't mean that your significant other stops caring for you. It doesn't mean that they stop loving you, even though they may, through their words, tell you, I don't love you like I used to. I don't see a future together. I think we should move on. Just because they say that does not mean that actually they have been able to completely disconnect from all feelings. And also, they have not been able to disconnect from certain patterns of life that they perhaps have been engaged in for quite some time. Very often, their mind says something to them, and their heart says something else to them, and there's this battle. So, depending on when you interact with them, you may get a very different interaction. It may feel like you're actually speaking to different people. And it's important for you to understand that so that you don't get triggered, so that you don't chase, so that you don't make mistakes that you will later regret. And this is the crux of this discussion. Because in this process, what I've seen is that if you're focusing on what your ex says or does, you will get triggered and you will have a setback. If, on the contrary, you are focused on a process of personal growth and transformation, focused on what you can control, then you can make rapid progress and you can actually be the one that has an impact on their psyche, on their words, and their behavior and actions because you are setting the tempo because you're engaged in a process of learning and growth and true personal transformation. And as you will see, as I answer 6 questions today from viewers just like you who submitted their questions through the form that you can find in the comment section and after the live, also in the description of the video, you will see that this is a reoccurring theme, focusing on you and what you can control, constantly going back to what is it that you're trying to learn about, and not letting your mind take you to places where you start to doubt, where you start to question, where you start to wonder what they're doing and why. And it's this constant process of continuing to focus on your betterment, your improvement, that ultimately helps you to maximize your chances of not just getting back together, but actually setting the foundation for a new and improved relationship with this person that you love. Because the goal is not to get back together. The goal is to make sure that you don't go through yet another breakup after you get back together, right? And that's why I love what I do. Marriage and relationship education, providing you with insights, tools, real communication tools that I have discovered, not just in theory, but by working with thousands of people all over the world, all walks of life, all sorts of cultures and backgrounds. And that rich experience is what I try to share with you and how I try to be of service through this platform. Always remember, you too can work with me if you'd like. The links are below if you'd like to personally connect and to work together through coaching. So, I am now going to answer the questions of these 6 individuals who have, shared their questions with me. The first question comes from Michelle in Leipzig, Germany. And Michelle asks, do I still have a chance if the reason for breaking up was because he lost his feelings, although he also was severely stressed and probably had a burnout in that time? So thank you, Michelle, for this beautiful question. And it's so funny because to me, what Michelle is going through is not funny, but the way that the question was articulated leads me to believe that actually Michelle has already started to understand the dynamics, right? Although he says he's lost feelings, what Michelle perceives using her judgment is that he was going through burnout and he was under severe stress. And so many times when individuals are in these types of dynamics where they feel out of control, the natural reaction is to take a step back. The natural reaction is to try to distance yourself from the relationship to try to regain control. And obviously, the false narrative there is that more freedom and more independence leads to greater happiness. It is not true. A relationship or a marriage can also be a form of protection because it anchors you. And it's not easy, but you're with a partner that helps you to see the things that you need to work on and that is there to also support you as you're going through tests and trials at work with burnout and stress, etc. And unfortunately, most people don't focus on those things that they have that is actually helping them. They focus on the negative and what they don't yet possess. And so they break up prematurely. And that's what's happening here, Michelle. So although I'm sure that there are some things that you could have done better and that the relationship was not perfect, the reality is that he needs you more than he realizes based on the information that you yourself have shared and assessed. And so is there still a chance? Absolutely. I've seen men in these types of dynamics and a relationship only to realize they're not happier and to come back. Is it a guarantee? Of course not. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I've seen this pattern happen time and time and time again. And the key, as I was just talking about in the introduction, is you, what you do. Because if you start to chase, you're not giving him the chance to actually realize what he's lost. He cannot value what you bring to the table if you are too present, if you reach out too much, if you're emotional, if you tell him you love him and you miss him and all that good stuff. Even though it's tempting because all those feelings and emotions are like bubbling within you and you just want to share that to the person that you care about and love deeply. The truth is that it's not helpful. It's not helpful for him because, again, it deprives him of the possibility of seeing what life without you is like. And it's not good for you because you're giving away your power and you are basically conveying to this person that you need them to be happy, which is not attractive. So I hope, Michelle, that this is helpful. And again, know that I am here to support you. If you feel like you need support, you can, through the link, work with me, and it will be my pleasure to help you with that. All right, I'm going to stick with the questions that I have here, even though I see your question, Cab, in the chat. If we have enough time, I'll address it. If not, I promise to address it next week in my next live. The next question comes from Kenneth in California, who asks, my ex is in a relationship with someone else after just a few days past the breakup, but she is now messaging me almost every night and most days with Facebook Reels and I love yous and I miss yous in limited contact because of our daughter from almost the first week. How should I be responding to her? Beautiful question, Kenneth. Thank you. So, Kenneth, it seems like this person that you love very much is really going through it, ups and downs emotionally. When you jump quickly into a relationship after a breakup, it means that you're not stable usually, and the fact that your ex is pursuing two rabbits at the same time shows that there's something that's fundamentally she's not at peace. And what you cannot do is settle for being this other person or settle for maintaining kind of a sort of connection as if you're still together while you know that she's being intimate, because then you're lowering the standard and you're basically conveying to her it is okay. It is okay for you to leave me. It is okay for you to jump into another relationship and to continue to reach out to me. It is okay for you to be with someone else and still kind of try to maintain that emotional connection. I'll take anything that you give me. And that, as you can tell, is desperate. And so the key is for you to set your boundaries, your own boundaries, based on your needs, because that's what self-respect looks like. And that is what can force your ex to realize what's at stake, just like we were talking about with Michelle. And so it seems like you have a daughter together, a child together. So you guys are going to be connected. It's not like she's going to be completely out of your life. And the fear here that most people have is, if I don't communicate, if I set this boundary, then I'm going to push her into this other person's arms. But no, that's not how it works. You're valuing yourself, so you actually regain more attraction. And because you're not in the picture, this other relationship will actually not look as appealing. So it is counterintuitive, but that is what I have seen over the years. And so, Kenneth, I really encourage you to be strong. This is not an easy dynamic, but you can do this. Like, she cares clearly. You can tell that she cares. She still is attached to you. The question is, are you able to set those boundaries, and what that looks like for you in your reality, given that you have a child, given that she's super emotional, and you probably are too. How do we set boundaries? That's what I want you to reflect on. And again, I am here to help support you if need be. It will be my pleasure to coach you and to work together. The next question comes from Kostas in Greece. And Kostas, it's not even a question. It's like an entire story that you've shared with me, so I cannot read it. But they were basically, they're in their late 50s, early 60s, together for 6.5 years. They live in Greece. And basically, she left, and they're still connected through dancing, salsa. And she is telling him that they're done, but she sometimes holds his hand. They go dancing together, mixed messages. And so he tries to kiss her, but she turns her cheek. And so he feels kind of lost, understandably so. And again, just like we were talking with Kenneth, you need to set your own boundaries. It's so counterintuitive because you're the one being broken up with. And so the last thing you want to do is set boundaries. You want to be together. But this person that you love needs to see that you have standards, that you respect yourself, that you're not going to just take breadcrumbs, and that you're not afraid of exploring a life without them. Even when your ex tells you, I want you to date other people, I want you to be happy, put yourself out there, even if they say that, if you actually do it and follow through, it's going to feel very different than what they think it's going to be. And when an ex tells you that, it means they just have too much control, too much power. They just have you under their thumb, and you're not really a challenge. And so they kind of almost feel bad. But those dynamics can be changed. And 6.5 years is a really long time. And the fact that you guys dance together is a good thing. You need to be self-aware. And if you are still too attached, then spending time together like this is going to lead to setbacks where you want more. You want more validation, more intimacy, and she's going to push away. So until you're actually ready, it's counterproductive to try to hang out with her. When you're more detached, when you're more in control of your emotions, then we can use that platform to really make rapid progress because you're going to be more attractive in her eyes. And just like with Kenneth and Michelle, if you feel like you need support, it would be my pleasure, Costas, to work with you. And I believe that 6.5 years is a very long time. Good things are to come. The next question comes from Heather in DC. Love Washington, DC. And Heather says, what is the best way to cope with an on and off again dismissive avoidant? I understand you cannot pressure them, but what is the time frame you give them before walking away? He has said he needs time to feel loved, but that was 2 years ago. So thank you, Heather, for your beautiful question. You've been very patient. 2 years is a long time in a process like this. And clearly you've done your research. You understand attachment styles, which is very helpful. And I can just tell that you're sharp. So that's great. Now, it's not so much the amount of time that has passed in breakup recovery, but your emotional attachment and the energy by which you communicate or not with your significant other. Because you could have waited 5 years, 10 years and still be attached and still be putting them on a pedestal and still be not attractive because they don't see themselves in the way that you are kind of projecting the image back of how you feel about them. And so I encourage you to not look at this through the lens of attachment styles, but through the lens of the energy that you are projecting and where you are at actually emotionally. And that will tell you a lot about actually what is possible. And it takes self-awareness and detachment. And we have a lot of blind spots because you went through shock and grief probably after your breakup. And so it's a lot easier to actually advise a friend after a separation or a breakup. You can clearly see things that they cannot see. And it's the same thing here, I think, for you, dear Heather, where it would be good for you to perhaps one trusted friend, someone that you feel is emotionally mature, or a therapist or a coach to kind of mirror back some of the things that you cannot see about yourself. And that will help you speed up this process of not only knowing what is possible or not, but actually being in a place where you're at peace, regardless of the outcome. That's what I want for you. And it would be my pleasure to work with you. And if I'm ever in DC, we could do it in person. I have family in Washington, DC. So I hope this was helpful, Heather. Next question comes from Kevin in Glendale, Arizona. Kevin asks, why did she come back to me after we broke up for 3 months, telling me I'm her person and she wants to marry me? I had broken my ankle, so I've been down. She wanted me to move in and be at her house more, but the pain I was in didn't enable me to go anywhere. That wasn't my room. So Kevin struggles with this notion of what his ex has said in the past. Sometimes exes make beautiful promises, grandiose gestures. They convey to you that you're their person. They want kids. They start naming future name of children, or they make commitment about vacation in the future, things that they want to do with you. And then all of a sudden a breakup happens and you're like, but what happened about all of these beautiful things you were sharing, you were saying? Like, where did all that go? And it leaves you again confused. And so the relationship, the reality shifts at the time of a separation. Who your ex was, how they projected themselves, what they want, what their fears, what their hopes are not the same. And if you look at the current situation through the lens of the past relationship, there's always going to be a disconnect. You will always not understand what this person is doing, why they're doing it, and you're like stuck and trapped in a past dynamic that no longer exists. And so, Kevin, I encourage you more than anyone else here to focus on creating a new identity for yourself post-breakup. Who are you outside of the process of trying to get her back? What would life be like if that wasn't even a goal? If you were to never be together again, what would be your interests? How would you spend your time? What would be your purpose? What is your interests? The more you focus on those things, identify them, take action, the better you will feel, the more in control you will feel, the more detached you will feel, the more attractive you will be in her eyes. And before you know it, she's going to come knocking back, saying those same beautiful things she used to say. And the hope is that she's also grown, that it's not just ego and attachment and a fear of losing you this time, and that she's prepared to nurture a different type of relationship. And this is where you also are going to need to be mature enough to kind of like see this through. So I hope that this is helpful for you as well, Kevin. Maggie in Belfast says, Belfast in Northern Ireland. My ex says he's not in love with me anymore, but he still cares about me and doesn't want to lose me. He wants to be friends. Can I win him back as I'm in love with him? So thank you, Maggie, for this beautiful question from Northern Ireland. So in one instance, I think your ex is being truthful that he's not in love with you, but he still cares deeply about you. And that's a beautiful thing. And being able to articulate that is a beautiful thing. But the fact that he doesn't want to lose you and wants to be friends makes it a little bit selfish on his end. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. And you may not, and you probably are not, ready to have a friendly relationship with someone that you still have deep, intimate bonds and connection with. And this is where, again, you need to be self-aware and to just let him know, like, yes, I would love to be friends with you, but at this time, it's not possible. It's not realistic because we were so much more than that. And you can't just flip a switch and pretend like we can be just friends. And it's okay to admit to your ex that you still have feelings if it's in the context of pulling away, like laying the boundaries and also distancing yourself on your terms. This is a concept that I articulate in many of my thousands of videos on my channel, but one that I don't think gets enough attention. It's so important. Even if your ex broke up with you, even if you were needy, you can still regain control by choosing to pull away, no matter what happened, conveying that you're pulling away. And I think that this is what needs to happen here. If Maggie, if you're strong enough to say, I appreciate you so much for caring and for wanting to be friends, but that's not what I want. And what I want now and what I need is to heal, is to move forward. Even though I know you don't want to move forward, you want to get back together. But part of getting back together means moving forward, moving past the pain of the breakup in order to create something new. You need to find yourself again in order to create something new. So as long as the feelings of being in love with him are overwhelming, then you should not be friends. You should not be in contact. You should not be communicating because you're going to be triggered. You're going to want more. You're going to be attached. And it's doing yourself a disservice. So it doesn't mean you don't love them anymore. That's something that trips people up all the time. Like, I don't want to stop loving him. I don't want to move forward. It doesn't mean that you don't love them anymore. It just simply means that it's healthy love. It's not this attachment type of love rooted in ego that is possessive, jealous, insecure, afraid. That's not love, guys. That is not love. It's unhealthy, and it's mainly due because you're in a state of shock. So you need to be focusing as well, just like these other friends here, on not focusing so much on what they said, what they do, where they're at, who they're talking to, but on yourself and things that truly matter and things that will ultimately help you to feel good and to feel proud of the person that you see in the mirror. That is what I want for you, Maggie. It is what I want for Michelle, for Kenneth, for Costas, for Heather, for Kevin, for all of you who will also be submitting your questions and your insights to me in weeks to come. I do this and I love it because I see people grow. I see people transform themselves. I see people learning how to love in a healthy way, and that is a beautiful thing. And I'm grateful for your trust. I'm grateful that we get to walk this path together, fight the good fight together. And I look forward to coming back on next Thursday, a week from today, to answer more questions, to explore relationships dynamics together again. And I thank you for your trust. So this was live number 7. I'm on a streak, 7 lives in a row. I hope that it is helpful for you. I think it is, based on the comments that I'm seeing and the suggestions that I'm getting. I would be grateful if you're able to extend the reach of these lives by sharing it with other people that you think could benefit from it, because my goal is to be able to help more and more people. And visibility has been more challenging on YouTube lately the algorithm has changed, and for some reason this content is not being pushed in the same way that it was in the past. But that's okay. I'm trying different things, uh, putting myself out there in different ways, new content, new format, and it doesn't matter ultimately how many people you touch. It's how profound the impact that you have on each individual, each soul, each relationship that is transformational as well. And I value that. And I'm grateful for your support. But if you have suggestions on how to extend the reach, or if you feel compelled to share with others, or to leave me any sort of feedback, positive or negative, as long as it's constructive, I'm all ears and always willing to learn and grow. So thank you. See you next week for another edition of Ask Coach Adrian Live. Keep fighting the good fight.